The Nexeri observation vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Dr. Silara Ved, the chief cynoanthropologist, gathered her team around the primary viewing chamber. Their mission was simple: document another emerging civilization for the Alliance's archives. Preliminary scans indicate artificial satellites, primitive space stations, and significant atmospheric pollution, her assistant Kren noted, manipulating the holographic display with practiced gestures. Classification: pre-spacefaring civilization. Development Stage 2. Silara nodded, her iridescent scales shifting from deep blue to a contemplative green. The Nexeri prided themselves on their role as the galaxy's archivists and guardians, preserving knowledge of countless civilizations across 20,000 years. This would be their 47th first contact mission with a developing species. Their primary colony on the lunar surface appears to be barely self-sustaining, another researcher added. No evidence of faster-than-light technology, quantum computing, or gravity manipulation. Recommend standard preservation protocols. But something about the data troubled Silara. The humans' development patterns seemed irregular. Their technological progress had been remarkably swift in some areas, yet strangely stunted in others. It was as if they were deliberately avoiding certain technological paths. The Nexeri ship drifted closer to Earth, its sensors penetrating deep into the planet's crust. They detected the expected signs of industrial civilization: sprawling cities, transportation networks, power generation systems. But beneath it all, in the depths of the oceans and buried under mountains, their scans revealed strange anomalies, spaces that seemed to resist analysis, areas where their most sophisticated sensors simply failed. Curious, Silara murmured. Run a comparative analysis against our historical database. Look for similar development patterns. The ship's AI complied, processing centuries of accumulated data in seconds. The result was unprecedented. No matches found. Every other civilization they had encountered followed predictable technological progression paths. But humanity's development was unique. Following standard protocol, they announced their presence. Global communication networks lit up with their message. People of Earth, we are the Nexeri Alliance. We come to observe and preserve knowledge of your developing civilization. The response they received was polite but measured. Earth's governments welcomed them, offering limited diplomatic exchange. There was none of the panic, awe, or religious fervor they typically encountered from Stage 2 civilizations. Instead, they found themselves dealing with careful, calculated responses that seemed almost rehearsed. Silara's team was granted permission to establish a small research outpost in Nepal. As they study human culture and technology, more inconsistencies emerge. Human scientific understanding seemed to leap forward in unexpected ways, as if building on principles they shouldn't yet comprehend. Their art and literature contained hints of concepts that pre-spacefaring species shouldn't grasp. And their myths, their ancient stories, spoke of powers and abilities that eerily paralleled advanced technologies. There's something we're missing, Silara told her team during their nightly briefing. Their mathematical models for space-time curvature are too elegant for a species that hasn't developed FTL travel. Their quantum mechanics theories are too refined for a civilization without quantum computing. It's as if. She paused, her scales shifting to a troubled violet. It's as if they already know these things, but are choosing not to develop them. The revelation came 3 months into their observation mission. But junior researcher, analyzing soil samples from an archaeological dig in Egypt, found something impossible. Trace particles of a material that could only be created in zero-gravity conditions, dated to over 12,000 years ago. When confronted with this evidence, their human liaison, Dr. Sarah Chen, merely smiled. "We wondered how long it would take you to notice," she said. "Perhaps it's time we showed you what we've been protecting all these years." The truth, as it turned out, was far more extraordinary than anything the Nexeri had imagined. Humanity wasn't ascending to the stars. They were returning to them. And beneath Earth's carefully maintained veneer of technological modesty lay secrets that would shake the galaxy's understanding of its own history. The Nexeri had come to study what they thought was a young species. Instead, they found themselves face to face with the custodians of knowledge, so ancient it predated their own civilization's earliest records. And as Solara would soon learn, humanity had very good reasons for keeping their true nature hidden from the galaxy's prying eyes. The journey to Europa began in silence. Dr. Solara Veds stood at the viewport of the human vessel Magellan, watching Earth's blue marble shrink behind them. The ship's propulsion system confused her team's sensors. It wasn't quite antimatter, wasn't exactly fusion, but somehow managed to outperform both. The Jupiter Research Station will be our first stop, Dr. Chen explained, leading the Nexeri delegation through corridors that seemed oddly spacious for what humans had claimed was a simple research vessel. We've maintained it for the past 50 years, officially for studying the Jovian system. Kren, Solara's assistant, was analyzing everything with barely concealed excitement. Your ship's artificial gravity. It's not generated by rotation or acceleration. How is that possible without quantum field manipulation? Sarah Chen's smile remained enigmatic. Let's just say we found more elegant solutions. She paused at a viewport as Jupiter's massive form came into view. We've had a long time to perfect our understanding of fundamental forces. The Jupiter Research Station wasn't what the Nexeri expected. Instead of the cramped, utilitarian facility typical of a Stage 2 civilization, they found themselves entering a vast complex seamlessly carved into Europa's ice. The station's true nature became apparent as they descended through layers of security that rivaled anything in the galaxy. This facility, Dr. Chen explained, is actually one of our younger installations, merely 300 years old. It serves as a waypoint to something far more interesting. She led them to a massive elevator platform. What we're about to show you exists because humanity learned a hard lesson. Sometimes knowledge needs to be protected, even from ourselves. The platform descended through the ice, passing through layers of history frozen in time. At the 2-kilometer mark, they encountered the first artifact, a perfectly preserved starship, clearly of human design but incorporating technologies the Nexeri had believed impossible for Earth's current development level. That's the Prometheus, Chen said quietly, one of the last vessels from the third age of human spaceflight, about 8,000 years old. Solara's scales shifted rapidly between colors of shock and disbelief. 8,000, but your recorded history is carefully curated, Chen finished. Like everything else about human civilization, the revelation continued as they descended deeper. They passed laboratories containing technologies that shouldn't exist, libraries of data crystals that made the Nexeri archives seem young, and preservation chambers holding secrets that defied explanation. Finally, at the 10-kilometer mark, they'd reached their destination. A vast chamber opened before them, its walls lined with what appeared to be stasis pods. But it was the center of the chamber that drew everyone's attention. A massive crystalline structure that pulsed with its own inner light. This, Chen said, her voice carrying the weight of millennia, is the memory core, one of 7 scattered throughout the solar system. It contains the accumulated knowledge of human civilization, not just this iteration, but all of them. The truth hit Solara like a physical force. All of them. Chen nodded. Humanity hasn't just achieved spaceflight once. We've done it many times, across many ages. Each time we reached the stars, we learned more about the universe and its dangers. Each time, we made different choices about how to proceed. She approached the memory core, placing her hand on its surface. The crystal responded, illuminating with patterns that seemed to flow like liquid light. The current age, what you see on Earth now, represents a deliberate choice. We're not developing technology, we're remembering it. Slowly, carefully, making sure we don't repeat the mistakes that forced us to start over in previous cycles. The implications staggered the Nexeri scientists. Every assumption they'd made about human civilization had been wrong. The primitive satellites, the modest space stations, the limited lunar colony, all were carefully maintained facades. But why? Solara asked. Why hide all of this? Chen's expression grew grave. Because there are things out there in the darkness between stars that hunt civilizations like ours. Things that look for certain technological signatures, certain patterns of development. We learned, through countless cycles of rise and fall, that sometimes the only way to survive is to appear harmless. She turned to face the Nexari delegation, her expression both ancient and weary. We're showing you this because we detected something at the edge of your territory. Something we've faced before. Something that's about to make your people understand why we chose to hide. The memory core's light pulsed stronger, projecting images of creatures and vessels that made even the seasoned Nexari researchers step back in horror. And as Solara watched the records of humanity's past encounters with these entities, she began to understand that her people's role as the galaxy's archivists was about to be challenged by a species that had been archiving knowledge since before the Nexari learned to leave their homeworld. The Nexari High Council chamber had never been so silent. Solara stood before them, her report on the Europa facility still sending shockwaves through the assembled leaders. Above them, a holographic display showed the approaching anomaly at the edge of Nexari space, a darkness that seemed to devour light itself. The humans call them the Void Hunters, she explained, her scales a deep shade of concern. They've encountered them in at least 3 previous cycles of their civilization. Each encounter ended with humanity deliberately regressing their technology, erasing their presence from the stars, and going into hiding. High Counselor Vex leaned forward, his ancient features grave. And you believe these humans can help us? They're already helping us. Dr. Chen interrupted, stepping forward. The Nexari guards tensed, but she ignored them. As we speak, humanity is awakening. Across Earth, across the solar system, we're bringing systems online that have slept for millennia. The chamber's displays suddenly flickered, showing new data streams. Massive energy signatures were appearing throughout the Sol system, within Mercury's core, beneath Venus's clouds, in Mars' polar caps. Earth itself seemed to pulse with awakening power. We built our current civilization as a shell, Chen continued, a convincing facade of a developing species. But beneath that shell, she activated a small device, and the chamber's holographic systems expanded, showing the true scope of human achievement. Massive structures were emerging from dimensional pockets throughout the solar system. Orbital rings around multiple planets shifted into view, their surfaces rippling with energy fields beyond Nexari understanding. Fleets of ships, each incorporating technologies that should have been impossible, decloaked in perfect formation. This is why we hide, Chen explained. The Void Hunters are drawn to advanced civilizations. They feed on them, absorb their technology, add their biological and technological distinctiveness to their own. But they ignore primitive worlds, so we learn to be primitive on the surface. Solara watched as her people tried to process the scale of the revelation. The humans don't just have advanced technology, she added. They understand fundamental forces of the universe in ways we never imagined. Their current civilization is built on the lessons of multiple cycles of rise and fall, each adding to their knowledge. In orbit above Earth, massive structures were unfolding like cosmic flowers blooming in space. The moon's surface rippled as hidden installations activated. Mars' ice caps split open, revealing vast shipyards that had waited in silence for this moment. We need your help, Chen said to the council. Not your technology or your ships. We have plenty of those. We need your network, your connections to other civilizations, because the Void Hunters never attack a single target. They're coming for all of us. The displays showed new data. Analysis of Void Hunter attack patterns across millions of years. Each incursion had targeted multiple civilizations simultaneously, overwhelming them before they could unite in defense. Humanity has fought them before, Chen continued. Sometimes we won. Sometimes we lost. But we always survived, because we learned to hide our true nature. Now we're choosing to reveal ourselves, because this time, we think we can do more than just survive. We think we can end them. The chamber erupted in questions, but Chen raised her hand for silence. Let me show you what humanity really is, what we've been preparing for. The holographic display shifted again, showing a massive structure hidden in the spaces between dimensions. This is the Aegis Array, Chen explained, a weapon platform that exists partially outside normal space-time. We've spent the last 3,000 years building it, hiding its components in plain sight as primitive satellites and space debris. Solara watched as understanding dawned on her people's faces. Everything they had assumed about humanity had been carefully orchestrated. Their apparent technological limitations, their seemingly chaotic development, even their political squabbles, all of it designed to hide the truth. Earth was not a cradle of emerging civilization, but a fortress of ancient knowledge. The Void Hunters will be here in 30 days, Chen said. They think they're hunting primitive worlds. Instead, they're about to learn why humanity chose to wait in the shadows. We're not just fighting for survival this time. We're fighting to free the galaxy from a threat it never knew it faced. As if in response to her words, new energy signatures bloomed across the solar system. Humanity's hidden strength was awakening, and the galaxy was about to witness why some species chose to hide not out of weakness, but because their power was too vast to display without consequence. They emerged from the void like living darkness, their ships organic and mechanical at once, a twisted fusion of every civilization they had consumed. The Void Hunter fleet materialized at the edge of the solar system, their sensors seeking the electromagnetic signatures of developing worlds. Instead, they found something waiting for them. The first sign that this hunt would be different came when their initial probe ships encountered the outer defense grid. What had appeared to be simple research stations scattered among the Kuiper Belt objects revealed their true nature. Each station transformed, unfolding into massive weapon platforms that had waited millennia for this moment. From her command position aboard the Earth defense platform Thermopylae, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the first exchange. All stations, execute Protocol Prometheus. Authorization, Alpha 7 Ancient Dawn. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strength emerged. The ice of Europa cracked open as massive vessels rose from their long slumber. The clouds of Venus parted, revealing orbital rings that had been cloaked for centuries. Mars's surface shifted as planetary defense systems activated, transforming the red planet into a fortress world. The Void Hunters' response was immediate and devastating. Their ships, each one a grotesque museum of stolen technologies, launched an assault that would have annihilated most civilizations. Dark energy beams capable of shearing planets apart lanced through space. Quantum disruption torpedoes, designed to unravel the fabric of reality itself, streaked toward Earth. But humanity had faced these weapons before, had died to them before, had learned from them before. Execute containment protocols, Chen ordered. The quantum torpedoes vanished into carefully prepared pocket dimensions, their destructive power channeled into reinforcing Earth's defensive shields. The dark energy beams met arrays of mirrors that didn't just reflect energy, but reversed its fundamental properties. The Nexeri observation fleet, watching from a safe distance, witnessed warfare beyond their comprehension. Human ships didn't just travel through space. They manipulated it. Void Hunter vessels found themselves fighting enemies that existed in multiple temporal states simultaneously, striking from past, present, and future in coordinated attacks. This is why we hid, Chen explained to Solara, who stood watching in awe on the command deck. Each time we faced them, we learned. Each cycle of civilization added to our understanding. We couldn't beat them with pure force. We had to transcend conventional warfare itself. The Void Hunters, realizing their danger, attempted to retreat. Their ships turned toward the darkness between stars, seeking escape. But humanity had prepared for this too. Activate the Aegis Array, Chen commanded. Around the solar system, Thousands of seemingly primitive satellites revealed their true purpose. They linked together, forming a web of energy that trapped the Void Hunters in a bubble of altered spacetime. You've been hunting younger races for millions of years. Chen broadcast on all frequencies, taking their knowledge, their technology, their very essence. But you never wondered why some civilizations seemed to vanish before you could reach them. Why some worlds showed signs of advancement, and then suddenly went dark. The Aegis array hummed with power that defied conventional physics. It didn't just trap the Void Hunters, it began to unravel them. Layer by layer, it stripped away their stolen technologies, separating centuries of plundered knowledge. We could have fought you directly, Chen continued. Could have met your fleet with ours, matched your stolen weapons with our developed ones. But that's not how humanity wages war anymore. We learned something across our many cycles of civilization. True power isn't about destruction. It's about understanding. The array's effect intensified. Void Hunter ships began to dissolve, not into destruction, but into their component parts. Each piece of stolen technology, each scrap of purloined knowledge, was carefully separated and preserved. Your mistake, Chen concluded, was assuming that primitive meant powerless, that hiding meant weakness. We didn't hide because we were afraid. We hid because we had transcended the need to display our strength. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 6 hours. When it was over, the Void Hunter fleet had been completely dismantled. But unlike their previous victims, humanity didn't seek to destroy them entirely. Instead, they were contained, reduced to their original form before they began their campaign of technological theft. As the solar system settled back into apparent normalcy, with humanity's greatest weapons folding themselves back into dimensional pockets and hidden bases, Celera finally understood. Earth wasn't just a cradle of civilization. It was a vault of wisdom accumulated across multiple cycles of rise and fall. Its people hadn't just learned how to fight. They'd learned when not to fight, when to hide their strength, and most importantly, when to reveal it. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, the great chambers of the Galactic Conclave buzzed with unprecedented activity. Representatives from 300 spacefaring civilizations gathered to witness something none had thought possible: humanity's formal emergence onto the galactic stage. Dr. Celera Ved, now serving as the Nexari ambassador to Earth, stood beside Admiral Chen as they prepared to address the assembly. The chamber itself was a testament to humanity's hidden influence, a vast structure built within a fold of spacetime, allowing civilizations from across the galaxy to meet without spending years in transit. For millennia, Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, you knew us only as myths, stories of vanished civilizations, tales of worlds that showed promise and then went dark. Today, you learned the truth behind those stories. The chamber's displays activated, showing the true scope of human influence throughout history. Seemingly primitive worlds scattered across the galaxy were revealed as carefully maintained sanctuaries, places where humanity had helped other species hide from threats like the Void Hunters, teaching them the art of strategic regression. We didn't just hide ourselves, Chen explained. We became guardians of knowledge, preservers of civilizations that chose survival over prominence. Each time we encountered a species threatened by cosmic predators, we offered them a choice: fight and likely perish, or learn to hide and survive. Celera stepped forward, her scales shimmering with emotions she'd once thought herself too scientific to feel. The Nexari prided ourselves on being the galaxy's archivists, she admitted, but we were collecting fragments of a story we didn't understand. Humanity wasn't just hiding. They were orchestrating a grand strategy spanning thousands of worlds and millions of years. The displays showed new data. The location of every memory core humanity had helped establish throughout the galaxy. Each one contained the accumulated knowledge of a civilization that had chosen to step back from the precipice of destruction to hide their true capabilities beneath a carefully constructed facade of primitive development. The age of hiding is over, Chen announced. The Void Hunters were not the only threat lurking between the stars, but they were the most persistent. With their containment, we can begin the process of awakening. Not just humanity, but all the civilizations that chose to walk our path. The chamber erupted in a mixture of shock and awe as representatives recognized their own worlds among those listed as hidden sanctuaries. Species that had thought themselves unconnected discovered shared histories of guided development and strategic concealment. But this revelation comes with a choice, Chen continued. What we offer now is not just knowledge, but wisdom. The wisdom to know when to advance and when to wait, when to show strength and when to choose apparent weakness. The wisdom to understand that true power lies not in dominance, but in preservation. Celera watched as understanding dawned across the assembled representatives. The galaxy they thought they knew was transforming before their eyes. Primitive worlds were revealing themselves as ancient strongholds of knowledge. Seemingly simple species were emerging as master strategists in a game played across millennia. Humanity's greatest achievement, Chen concluded, was not our technology, our weapons, or even our understanding of space-time. It was learning that civilization itself is not a linear path to advancement, but a cycle of growth, preservation, and renewal. We learned to step back from the brink of our own destruction, to hide our power until it was truly needed, and to help others do the same. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity had not just survived multiple cycles of civilization. They had become shepherds of countless species, guiding them safely through the dangerous waters of technological advancement. The galaxy's history was being rewritten, not as a simple progression of emerging civilizations, but as a complex dance of strategic advancement and tactical regression. As the conclave session concluded, Celera finally asked the question that had bothered her since the battle. Why reveal everything now? Why not continue hiding? Chen's smile carried the weight of ages. Because the galaxy is ready for a different kind of advancement. Not the blind rush toward power that draws predators like the Void Hunters, but a measured ascension that preserves wisdom alongside knowledge. The age of hiding is over. The age of understanding begins. Across the galaxy, hidden worlds began their carefully planned emergence. Memory cores activated, sharing accumulated knowledge with species ready to receive it. And humanity, the ancient guardians who had learned to hide their light not from fear, but from wisdom, prepared to teach the galaxy their most important lesson. That true civilization is not measured by the height of its achievements, but by its ability to preserve and protect the achievement of others. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter that day, as if celebrating the end of one era and the beginning of another. The galaxy had thought humanity was young, had believed Earth was just beginning its journey to the stars. Instead, they discovered that humanity had been there all along, silent guardians waiting for the right moment to show that strength lies not in the power you display, but in the wisdom to know when to display it.